What's going on, guys? I've got myself, Isaac Rubel, the marketing legend, and Sergio Tavares, the sales legend. And this is the very first episode in history for the Eight Figure podcast. We felt like there was a huge gap in the space between beginner content and advanced content. And we wanted to create a podcast that was more free flow, where we could all hop on and talk about advanced ideas and concepts. So, with that in mind, Isaac, Sergio, how you guys feeling today? You guys ready to go?
I'm excited.
Feeling good, bro.
We've been talking about doing this podcast for the better half of like 6 months to a year. It's pretty wild, but I think it's worth the wait though, because it allows us to have even more lessons that we have picked up over the last couple months, especially with the shift in the high ticket space. Wouldn't you guys say it's gotten like different?
It's more competitive.
It's definitely
Far
gotten
more.
harder, yeah.
Yeah, far more competitive.
So a lot of people probably don't know what we do. I'm definitely not going to be sharing the specifics of all of our
Tell them our
offers.
exact offers. Tell them all of our brands immediately.
No, because you guys are going to go and rip them. But essentially what Sergio, Isaac, and I do is we own a company called Onyx Management, and we partner with different offers and help them scale to multiple 7 and even 8 figures. So, for example, last year we scaled an offer from 0 all the way to $800,000 per month, cash collected in 6 months. We also scaled another offer up to $450,000 a month. And this year we are about to launch a whole set of brand new offers based on everything that we learned. And we hope to be sharing some of the lessons with you guys on this podcast. So most of you guys know us from Agency Lab, and that offer has actually taken somewhat of a backseat. So it's not our main focus anymore. It still exists, and people can still sign up, but it's definitely not the biggest offer that we're trying to scale. So with that in mind, like just to jump right into it, for today's episode, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you feel like have been the biggest lessons from last year going into this year, scaling that offer from 0 to 800K a month, scaling another offer from 0 to 450K a month. Agency Lab at that time when these offers were also doing those numbers was at about 750,000 a month. So we were doing over $1 million a month cash collected. What have you guys learned? What are your thoughts on scaling to 8 figures in 2025?
I'll tell you something weird that really only hit me in the last 12 months. So guys, we have started companies where it's obviously we have the same core marketing team. We have even the same closers. We're all the ones crafting the offer. We're the ones picking the product. And then we'll have one company that pops off and does hundreds of thousands of dollars month one. And then we have a completely different company with the exact same team, exact same skills that we're being able to push and leverage. And they get radically different results. And so I think for the better part of 2024, I was trying to figure out why, right? Like, why is it that these companies with the exact same core team gets radically different results? And I think what I landed on is that the business that you choose, the offer you choose matters even more than the skills that you have. Of course, you need skills, right? But the thing I would do different this time around is pick a better business. I think that's the one major learning lesson I had in 2024. It's my biggest takeaway.
A good offer can hide a lot. There's a lot of people running ads out there right now that like their ads kind of suck. Like they don't really have a strong angle. They don't really have, an interesting ads, nothing exactly special about their ads, their funnel, anything, but they're the only ones in the space. They have a super strong offer. They're one of the first people to launch in their industry, and like they're crushing because of it. So like the right offer at the right time can compensate for a lot of, deficiencies that some companies have. And because of that, but those same people also don't tend to last when things get hard. Like as things scale up, as more competitors move into this space, those same people end up dying out because they don't have the skills that scale with the marketplace.
I think the opposite is also true though. So like part of why I'm confident in our skill set to go into these markets, we went into a very competitive market like agencies, which is freaking incredibly saturated. And we were forced to blow up a business that really wasn't meant to scale.
In retrospect, for anyone that has been following me or Sergio or Isaac, like Agency Lab should have been happy at 500K a month and with a very
Max.
lean team and make it really profitable. Like when we were just like that offer thrives more on content and less on ads. And when we were doing 500K months, when my YouTube was peaking with SMMA, our profit margin was like 300 to 400,000 a month. And then when we went to scale it to 750 with ads, our profit kind of stayed the same or went down a little bit. There's definitely some
No, you're good.
offers where you should also know if, hey, is this an offer that we should scale with ads? Is this an offer that we should scale with content? And actually, now we only look for offers that we could scale mainly with ads. But if you are in an offer that is mainly content driven, you shouldn't try to force it because that's when your entire margin goes down. And Agency Lab should have just been like a lifestyle business.
It's funny you say 500K a month. I really think it's more like 300, 350. And maybe you could squeeze it to like 500K a month. But to say that that sort of business model, unless you go complete biz op, which obviously we didn't want to do, you're not going to really scale that business to 1 million a month, right? And yet we've had businesses that scale, like you said, Joel, from 0 to 800K a month, and we did it in a couple months. Whereas Agency Lab that we had for all these years, and we were incredibly focused on it for so long, for so many years, we've just exclusively focused on Agency Lab, and yet it wasn't able to touch those numbers. And the only difference is not a matter of skill set. It's not a matter of us just randomly leveling up from 1 month to the other. It was genuinely the business that we chose.
Single biggest factor to scaling to 8 figures without force, right? So scaling to 8 figures easily is picking the right business.
By far, by far.
Yes.
So
This is why
It's the right vehicle for sure.
Isaac,
This
what do
is
you,
why
what do you look for when you look at right businesses or right vehicles? Because everyone talks about it. What does that actually look like in
Ideally,
practice?
ideally, you want to be like a second mover. That's the best position to be in. I mean, being a first mover on an offer pays tremendously, right? Like it has a huge payoff, but it's also a much bigger risk. Like you can launch a bunch of offers and be a first mover in a bunch of different industries, and some are going to crash. Like some offers just won't hit. Second mover is the best position to be in because you're moving into what is a proven space. Like someone else has proven it, but there's still a massive available market for you to go in there and clean up. Especially, and most of the time, if you are a marketer and you have a proper marketing skill set, like you know how to script ads, you know how to create angles, you know how to what funnels to run, some alternative funnel types to run. When you move into an industry as a second mover and you see someone in there that's already doing well, you can outperform them quite easily, like very easily. Like a lot of the times, people who are first movers, they took like an offer that was working for them organically. They have some deep knowledge on some topic. They're some guru of some topic, and they just happen to launch ads in a new space. They're not necessarily the best at marketing. So if you go into a space like that with much better marketing, you can just clean up overnight. I mean, you can scale very quickly.
So you're saying the best way to find the right business or the right vehicle is actually just by looking at people who have made the first move and are making a lot of money, where there's not a lot of second or third movers.
Exactly. And if you do want to be a first mover, I would look at offers. Like if you're like, hey, I'm willing to take that risk, launch a brand new offer in a brand new space, I would look at what's performing organically. Because what's performing organically doesn't always perfectly reflect what's going to perform on ads, but it increases your odds, right? Like if something's performed extremely good organically, sometimes it's because of the face of that business, right? Like, they've developed trust over years. They have a YouTube channel with hundreds of thousands of followers, whatever. But also sometimes it's a viable offer. And when you move that offer over to ads, it can work very well. But yeah, generally, second mover's best position.
What do you think, Joel? What's one of the biggest lessons of 2024?
Well, I definitely want to stay on this topic of like finding a better business, because part of the reason why we started the management company is because you also don't know which is a better business or a worse business until you launch it. Obviously, you have some general idea or a thesis that you want to validate. Um, but what really has made it easier for us to scale is to find better opportunities. And a lot of big names in our space talk about like how do you find a better vehicle, how do you find a better, or they talk about the importance of finding a better vehicle, but very few people talk about how to actually find a better vehicle. What the fuck does that actually mean? For me, the very first question you have to ask yourself is, what is the next best and next biggest move that you can make that's most closely tied to what you're already doing that is a little bit bigger? So if you have a Cairo agency, well, maybe you take a slight risk and work with, let's see, what's a brand new medical niche that's coming out, like blood testing or peptides or semaglutide. You essentially take your skill set of helping promote medical products, but go one level bigger. And once you've mastered that, maybe you go and sell semaglutide direct to consumer and you go one level bigger. So for me, it's like a good starting point is how do you take what you're already good at, for us it's sales and marketing, and just do it at a slightly bigger level. I think that's a good place to start. But if we want to go deeper, like how do you find better vehicles, bigger total addressable markets? It has to be either a niche with millions of people where you could go high volume, or it has to be an extremely high income niche where they have a lot of money and are willing to invest. Like, I think most people get stuck in this like um in these like broke audiences. Like,
You know what's funny,
you know,
Joel? Check this out. Literally, I wrote down my 4 criteria. So it's mass market, bro. My handwriting's horrible, but look, it's mass market or wealthy people. That's number one. Number two, ideally people with money.
were you taking notes while I was
No,
talking?
beforehand. It was beforehand. Number three, it's
So
recurring
just
revenue.
like, no, I'm just kidding.
Number three, it's recurring revenue. And then this is the one that no one
Wait,
thinks
what's the
about.
number two? What's number two?
I prefer people with money. That's
For sure,
like my,
yeah.
yeah. Number three is recurring revenue. And the last one that no one actually talks about is asking yourself, do I even have an edge going into this space? So like if I were to start a freaking med spa today, I know nothing about Botox or semaglutide or what is it. It's just, I'm not gonna win, right? But if it's a space that maybe I already have a background in, or it's a space that leverages sales, marketing, all these things that we've developed, all these skills we've developed in the last decade, really, of being in the internet marketing space, then sure. But that's the one that no one talks about. It's like, do I even have an edge in this space? In retrospect,
What does that
when
look like though?
I'll tell you. In retrospect, when we decided to go after solar, it wasn't that good of a decision. Like it sounds good on paper, but I know nothing about solar from a marketing standpoint. I knew nothing about the
Yeah,
industry.
like we didn't know, for example, that, so it's like, yeah, we could run ads and get appointments, but little did you know, homeowners want to meet with you in person if you're going to do something to their
Yeah.
house because it's a
Yep.
very intimate purchase. So like we would convince these guys on getting solar, and then they would just meet with 1 out of the 10 reps that would knock on their door the following week, and they'd be like, well, I have Johnny here now who's telling, who's shaking my hand. And we
Yep.
didn't, one of our non-negotiables was like, we do not want to have to go door to door. We don't want to have to build these like non-virtual companies. We want to stay remote. And it was like the only way to actually scale it was going to the houses. And like one of the other things, like a lot of people in the space were like, yeah, virtual works, virtual works, virtual works. But like we didn't actually see many people crushing it in virtual. And then
To Isaac's point.
most of the entire solar industry has dipped and gone into insurance, which is
Yeah.
hilarious because those were all the guys that were like, yo, this is crushing. And it's like, well, why'd you dip? So again, like we didn't know enough about the industry, and then we got eaten alive. So I think like that's why I said, what's like the next big step, the next bigger play from what you're already doing, instead of having to go like from point A to point Z, right? It's like go to from point A to point B and keep taking one step at a time. The important piece is you have to always be taking that next step, and you have to be very aggressive about it. Like you can't just stay comfortable. Like we stayed comfortable with Agency Lab for years.
So when do you
I,
know to take that next step?
assuming that your skills are really good, your team is really good, you have enough resources, and like all those are handled. If you're like forcing an offer and you're having to like get really cute with it, adding all this complexity. For example, coming up with a new angle every single week. Like literally for Agency Lab, we would come up with a new angle or offer once a month. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would have to be posting on my Instagram every single day. I was having to be a slave to content. Like I had to post or else. Like when you're having to like force the business and you try for like for example, we decided we're not going to force a business for more than 90 days. If after 90 days we're still forcing it, then it's just easier to go find a better offer to scale.
Yep. And to go back to the idea of like what your edge is, like our edge being sales and marketing wasn't an edge in solar. Like, okay, I mean, solar leads are cheap generally, right? So, like, let's say everybody else is paying $15 per lead, and with the best marketing in the world, you can get the same leads for $10. I mean, it's a good cost reduction on your lead cost, but what is it? It doesn't mean anything. Like an edge in solar would have been like we already have a door-to-door team in like one of the best states for solar, or like Massachusetts, because there was a period of time where Massachusetts was really good for solar. So like we already have a door-to-door team for roofing, and we repurposed it for solar. Like that would have been an edge that would have made a lot of money in that business, but sales and marketing, it wasn't that much of an edge. Like sales and solar isn't that hard. Marketing and solar isn't that hard. So we moved into a business where it was like there's not a lot of like exponential returns for what our skill set is. But there's plenty of other businesses where sales and marketing
Is
is a huge
lacking.
edge, massive edge. It's everything. Like you can,
Like where it's
yeah,
lacking and we can step in and dominate.
exactly, yeah,
Or these people
exactly,
suck at it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Can you give an example, Isaac? Because the thing you're spot on, bro. In solar, everyone's good at sales and marketing. That's the entire business. So what
Yeah.
would be an example of a niche or an industry that you're going into that leverages sales and marketing that currently doesn't have those? There's currently not people crushing it with it.
There's a lot of industries that still haven't really tapped into like a really solid freaking like call booking funnel, you know? Like me and we've talked about this a little bit, but like there's room out there for like a really big like CPA or like tax
Oh yeah,
service to be
talk
run
about
through
it.
ads. Like taking some of these businesses that have never really taken off in the digital marketing space and pushing freaking rocket fuel behind them. You know, top tier ads, really good funnels, really good sales process. Some industries have never seen that. Like you bring that to some industries, put it on ads, it takes off. I mean,
Hmm.
another one top of my mind is like plastic surgery. Like people will fly from around the country for those sort of things. If you have the right name on it, like for example, there's a lot of plastic surgeons on Instagram, right? A lot with a name for themselves too. Like they are known as the plastic surgeon that gets rid of like under eye bags or whatever it happens to be. They're like known for these specific things. You take one of those, you create some really good ad campaigns around it, create some really good angles, launch it to a call booking funnel, close people over the phone for high ticket, pay for their flights out to get the surgery. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. So yeah, that's some examples of industries where there's exponential returns on the sales and marketing
But
skill set.
I think edges can also be thought of differently. So for example, one of my good friends who used to be one of our clients, we helped him scale to 100K a month. Now he's doing over 1 million a month. What he did is he took a crypto offer that would not work in America because it's saturated and extremely competitive. And all he did is he translated it to French and he runs it in France. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it's like his competitive edge was actually I can take proven offers in America and run them in France, but only like we don't have that competitive edge. We're not French. So it's like you have to also add, this is also a self-awareness problem that you have to solve. Like, what are you actually good at? Like, for example, us three were very good at sales and marketing. We struggle with product ops unless it's coaching, unless it's info. Like, so if we're going to do a more advanced product, we need to partner with someone that is extremely good at it. But there's someone out there that's really good at product and that's their edge, and maybe they can innovate on solutions that don't even exist yet. And then they just use basic sales and marketing to promote it. So you have to find like there's no like clear like this is how you have an edge. It's more like you have to think about it for you.
Well, I was going to say, since we're on the topic of choosing the right offers, the things that it's kind of a very fine line between what you actually have an edge in and what you think you have an edge in. So, for example, the reason that we were even debating insurance for so long is because it sounds like it's sales and marketing, right? So you're almost alludes into thinking, oh well, this is perfect for us, right? It's no fulfillment, which we have identified that we're not the greatest at. It leverages sales and marketing heavy, but because of that fact, everyone gets into the industry, and so you get the best of the best marketers. You also get the best of the best sales guys, and so you're only going to be marginally better. And so, what I've noticed is the things that you feel you have an edge in, you actually have to study and audit. Like for me, the way I decided between okay, should we do insurance versus should we not do insurance? I took like an hour. I sat down. I was like, okay, well, if I were going to compete with some of the top guys, what would I do different? And if it's only an extra 10% close rate, or like Isaac's point, I can only get an extra couple dollars lead cost to be cheaper. Well, then what am I actually doing? What's interesting is you take the exact same skill set and you bring it to a completely new industry like plastic surgery, like we've been talking about, and you're going to dominate because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, have you guys asked yourself why did insurance feel so enticing for us? It's because
Ooh,
it felt like we had an edge, didn't it?
yeah, and like one of the big things that everyone needs to look out for is like you can't follow the crowd to a T, but you do want to follow the crowd. So it's like the idea of going into insurance, which was an old industry, proven, low focus on product and fulfillment. Great idea. Follow the theory, follow that high level strategy, but the actual specific of just like following it because everyone else does. The problem is that now you lose that second mover's advantage, like
Yeah.
Isaac talked about. And like, then you only get marginal improvements and you have to now focus on this business for a decade before you see really good results. And then it's like we all have like the magic formula, which is we know how to make internet marketing money. We should use the magic formula to make internet marketing money quickly. Obviously with good products, obviously with taking care of customers, but like why would you go after a 10-year play when you could just make as much with a 1-year play?
One of our standards that we set out when we're looking at offers is it needs to work quickly. Like a good offer should work very, very quickly. Like this is assuming you have your shit together, right? Like if you, like this is a more advanced convo. Like if you don't really know how to market, you don't really know sales, then like you have other variables here. But if you've been in this for a while and you know your marketing's good, you know your sales is good, an offer should work very, very quickly. Like maybe there's some little hangups in the sales process. Maybe Sergio can talk more into that. But like, hey, maybe we need to make this adjustment. Maybe we need to change the angle a little bit. But like, an offer should work immediately. And maybe you should do one angle switch. Like if you run an offer and the ads are working, but every time you get someone on a sales call, they tell you they want something a little bit different than what you're actually pitching, that is when I would do one pivot. I think every offer deserves at least one major pivot before you just give up on an offer. But yeah, Sergio, I'll let you talk more about maybe what it looks like when we launch these offers on the sales side to kind of determine that. But
Bro, you
yeah,
kind of nailed it. Usually, what I'll do is the first 15 to 20 conversations, I'm keenly listening in. I'll even tweak the pitch a couple times just to see what lands. But more than anything else, I'm actually just listening to the market feedback. Oftentimes, people think that I'm really good at offer creation, but what I'm actually good at is just listening to what people want. That's it. So study the market. They'll tell you what they want. Listen to the sales calls. Listen to the conversations. If someone doesn't move forward, ask them why. Especially those first 10 to 15 sales calls on a brand new business, a brand new offer. That's where all the goals going to come from. And to your point, you'll know in the first week or so of running an offer whether or not it's got some validity to it. So I don't quite look for are we getting closes, because you could also close someone by accident, right? I actually
yeah,
look for how's the market reception to this. Reason why I'm saying that's because at any given moment, 3% of the market's ready to buy. You could have just grabbed that 3% of the market while on a random sales call without knowing it, right? And so what I actually look for is how receptive is the audience to our existing offer, and based on what I know they would want as a pivot, is that something we could even deliver on? And if we can, then cool, you have validity in the business. And if you can't, then at that point you have to make a decision to shut it down or struggle, or you just maybe don't necessarily struggle, but you won't go as aggressively as you would have liked to. So that's what I do on the sales side for a brand new offer.
I think that for me, and maybe we can wrap up here, guys. Because I know we want to keep this podcast not short, but like not long either, kind of like that medium length. But um, it needs to work within the first 90 days. And you have, like Isaac said, you have one major pivot. This assumes that you're really good at sales, really good at marketing. You have resources to invest. Like we start off every single new offer at like $1,000 a day spend, like minimum. So like you have to be willing to test quickly. You want to put a proven closer in place, all that good stuff. Again, this is not for beginners. This is for people that are intermediate to advanced. For me, what does it look like for it to work? You don't need to make a lot of money. It doesn't even need to be that profitable. It's like, are people wanting what you're promoting? That's number one. Does that reflect on the sales calls, on the marketing costs? Like if you're getting an astronomical cost per qualified appointment that shows up, well, then either A, not a lot of qualified people are out there who want your stuff, or people don't really want your stuff. Like it
We're
should be
trash at marketing too.
like one of the offers that we launched last year, we closed 5 at like a $18,000 price point within the first week of launching. The first week. So it's like it should work quickly. Now I'll give one caveat. If you don't have any social proof at all, that can hinder things a little bit. If that's the case, one of the things that we've implemented that works really well is doing more irresistible offers up front. And it's like if people aren't taking those, like a $1,000 good faith deposit, like one of the offer that we scaled to 450K a month, that one we didn't have any social proof when we launched it. So we told all the closers you could do a $1,000 good faith deposit, pay everything else after the service is delivered. And we started closing like 10 a day. So like if you don't have social proof, you just do an irresistible offer. If people are still not willing to take the irresistible offer, then you probably don't have product market fit. Then you're allowed to make one pivot, like Isaac said. And if it still doesn't work, again, we're in the business of sales and marketing. We're not in the business of whatever product we're selling. That's interchangeable. It's like Best Buy is in the or Dick's Sporting Goods. They're in the business of selling sports gear and sports equipment and sports clothing. And then Best Buy's in the business of selling electronics, tech, etc. But like the products are interchangeable. If people aren't buying this product, they could just replace it with another one. That's how we need to look at our business. Any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap up?
I agree with one caveat. So
Yeah,
I completely agree. Just one caveat. I think a good offer sells, to your point, assuming you have social proof, but the best offers, you don't even need social proof. You just don't even need it. If I were to tell you, hey, I have this brand new marketing thing that I'm guaranteeing to put you $1 million, add an extra $1 million in revenue.
And it's not just a hype claim. It's like
in the next 90 days, or you won't pay, such a crazy offer, you're gonna buy, right? Because what's the risk for you, right? So the best of offers actually work even without social proof. Typically, though, those are actually new markets or new offers. There's some unique mechanism to it that makes it like, oh,
I've never
I'm
heard
curious.
this before.
Correct. It's like I'm curious.
It happens with stuff that's truly innovative. Like not just like hype, unique mechanism. Like when something comes out and it's like, oh shit, that's like actually a unique mechanism. I think SaaS is one of the industries that probably happens more often in because people create genuinely new stuff. But yeah, it's rare, super rare.
To recap, if you want to scale to 8 figures in 2025, find better offers. And in our case, we're in the business of sales and marketing. So we find better businesses to do marketing and sales for. Try to be the second mover. If you're willing to take more risk, be the first mover. Find a way to have a competitive edge in what you're doing. And if you've made it this far, then I want to let you know the 2 ways that you can apply to work with us. First things first, If you're at $10,000 a month and you're like, Joel, how do I get to 100K per month? So we've been able to help 134 entrepreneurs scale all the way to $100,000 months. In fact, we've been able to scale 8 of our own companies all the way to 100K a month. Some of them have scaled to 500K, 750K, and in total, we've cash collected over $1 million a month between our companies. So we've got the process down to a science. And if you want to apply to join our $100,000 a month mastermind, where we'll help you go from 6 all the way to 7 figures, make sure to apply below. And yes, you must be at 10K per month, or we're going to cancel your call, unfortunately. With that in mind, if you're doing over 100K a month, and you're like, Joel, how do I scale to $500,000 a month or even 8 figures? We've got a management company where we'll work with your company much more intimately. And we have a few different solutions that we offer. Number one, you can work with our acquisitions agency where we can run all of your marketing, all of your sales, and really just take over in order to help you blow up. Number two, we offer high-end customized one-on-one consulting with myself, with Isaac and Sergio, my business partners. Or number three, if it's the right fit, we will even partner with you on your company to help you scale. So if you're doing 100K a month, make sure to apply for that. And with that in mind, we'll talk to you soon.